Good morning, Facebook. Today is Tuesday, November the 26th. I am Fire Lotus, and today, well, it's the live Morning Witches chat. I do these Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to, starting anywhere from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. And then after this, normally it gets posted to my YouTube channel, which is also Fire Lotus the Witch. So, with that, we will also be going over today's Oracle card that I've also been breaking down, which is the Halloween Oracle deck. We are on the 24th one today. On top of that, I will also be going over some crystals that I looked up for safe travel due to this week being Thanksgiving. I will also be talking about the tarot spread that if anybody is doing this challenge, you will be doing tonight. I technically did last night. There's also a bonus one that I found that you can do tonight due to the fact tonight is the new moon in Sagittarius. And I also will have the next one for tomorrow night, for y'all to do tomorrow night. I also have that one. And then I also have something to show, the poll that I left on this channel for, or this page, for what we're going to break down next, the other Oracle deck that I have, or the Tarot deck that I'm currently using right now. If we do go over the Tarot, then I think, well, I'll show you this in a minute. By the way, go ahead and put this out there. If you hear a dog barking, can't help that. That's the neighbor's dog. And if you hear a cat meowing at any point in time during the video, it's because he's annoyed that he is not in my craft room. So, without further ado, I think I went over everything. I'm Fire Lotus, Morning Witches Chats, Eastern Standard Time. That went over. I also went over the date, today's Oracle card. I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't know. It'll come. So, for anyone who doesn't know, I started a 30-day tarot Pinterest challenge, which basically what that is I'm going to, I've already created a board on Pinterest and I've also been sharing it, but for 30 days we will be doing up to 6 card spreads every night. Keep a journal of it, write it down. Let me tell you, I did, what you will be doing tonight, if y'all are participating in it. And basically what this is going to do is not only will it introduce you to your deck, but it gets you more familiar with it. It'll also get you more familiar with working with your deck. And by the way, this is for anybody. This is for anybody who has a tarot deck. And I don't care if you've been practicing for 15 plus years, 20 plus years, 5 plus years, 6 plus years, 1 plus years, a month. I don't care. It's for anybody. It never hurts and it's fun. I've actually got some positive feedback from these videos and from the challenges that I've been doing. So, last night, and this is so funny, actually, I do want to explain this. This is so funny how this lined up, okay? I introduced this yesterday, which is Monday, right? But I actually started doing it myself Saturday. The thought came to me to make it into a challenge Sunday night. So the way that this has worked out is the spread that y'all will be doing tonight, I will technically be reviewing today. So tomorrow, when I review what y'all will be doing, also tomorrow. So see, I'm a day ahead of you, but that's so cool because you get to hear my results in a way of how the reading and tarot spread went. With that, last night I did Whispers of the Ancestors, which is also what y'all would be doing tonight. And let me tell you, I have already posted it. I've actually posted the entire Pinterest board on my profile, but later on after this live, I will post it down in the comments. But basically, it is 6 cards. And what they are is, the first one is what ancestors are present. The second one is what are your relationships to me? or to y'all, what is the general gifts that I have inherited from you? What are your hopes for me? How can I honor your heritage? And a healing message from the ancestors. Y'all, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, doing these lives and this new path that I'm going down with my spirituality, and then with sharing it, and, you know, doing these videos, doing the YouTube videos, everything like that, I've had a lot of moments where, like, I was like, am I ready for this? Like, is it the right time? And they're just, you know, and then it's out, basically. It comes completely out, runs through my mind, and goes out, right? Last night, that reading, the cards that I pulled from my tarot deck, I myself have actually developed my own personal, that this is how I will cut the cards and shuffle the cards every single reading that I do. And it works for me very well, because sometimes with the tarot cards, and even my oracle deck, due to the fact that they're the same cards, and there's the same number of cards, sometimes there's an aspect of me that's like, well, is that really, like, you know, of course, if you shuffle the cards just right, you know, of course you're going to get the same cards, or, you know, sometimes my brain tries to pick them apart, or try to rationalize it in a way. So, I have learned or taught myself a way, or possibly the ancestors told me a way, that I can do that to where it kind of tricks my brain to where I don't even think about it. And last night, the reading that I got and the cards that I pulled from it, holy cow. If you saw yesterday's video, when I was talking about the actual one that technically y'all did last night, which is, it was the past life one. It was 4 cards, right? Yeah, 4 cards to basically learn different aspects about possibly different past lives that you've had. A lesson that you didn't finish in a past life, and, well, now, how that past life and or lesson that you didn't finish is coinciding with this life right now. And the cards that I got, there were symbols, basically the results that I got, there was no way that I could deny that it wasn't associated with me, and this deck wasn't actually reading me. And they were small symbols. One of them was cicada. Basically, symbols that I've always been drawn to throughout my entire life. And only until recently, in the past few years, have I actually linked them, or have I found historical evidence to link them for the same reason that I was drawn to them, to the practice of magic, and or they have been associated with magic heavily. And at that point, I did not know. Even the name Fire Lotus part, actually can also be, there have been symbols of the fleur de lis that were also representations of the lotus flower. The fleur de lis is also, and can be, a representation of Mother Maiden Crone. All of those were tied together. I had no idea up until a few years ago. So it's insane, and eventually you will start, like, symbols, or, like, say mermaid, or scales, or seashells, you know, something in a way almost slightly weird, that's in a symbolic way, and you never understood why you were drawn to it. Opening yourself up to your spiritual life and exploring past lives, you will actually realize that a lot of the things that you're drawn to in this life can actually be associated with your past life experiences. And it's amazing when that happens, because it is a feeling. By the way, I am starting a new thing where I'm taking notes during this video. So, when I upload it to YouTube, I can make sure, like, I kind of describe the right things. Hello! I've missed you. We have missed you. But, I also understand the whole with you. I understand that too. Completely, trust me. So to catch you up, I was talking about the 30-day Oracle Challenge, or Tarot Challenge that I came up with. I did, because I'm a day ahead of y'all, or to anybody who is doing it, I did Whispers of the Ancestors last night, which is technically what y'all will be doing today, or tonight. And then I found a bonus one that I will also post, that is a New Moon Sagittarius tarot spread, which is 6 cards. So I found that earlier this morning, and I plan on doing it tonight. And then I was like, well, it's a bonus one, plus it's the new moon tonight, so that would be perfect. So I will be posting that one. But last night, Whispers of the Ancestors, I got validation in ways that I had no idea. Because I'm not really worried about am I on the right path, because the signs that I've been getting left and right, or the people that have been reaching out to me, telling me how much they appreciate these videos and everything that I've been doing, it was kind of validation in and of itself. Because this is very new to me, but I've talked about doing this behind the scenes for a very, very long time. It's just the way that I started doing these, it was completely unexpected. But last night, Whispers of the Ancestors deck, holy shit, y'all. Holy shit. The reading that I got last night was the biggest validation I've ever had in my entire life. It was the biggest confirmation in a way. I don't know if I should use validation, but it was the biggest confirmation. I will say one or two cards that I actually got for the questions, which you would also have to like know this deck. Well, actually no, if you know the major arcanas you could, but this particular deck, it's the Green Witch Tarot, so all of it in there is heavily pagan, new age, witchcraft based, right? So I'll go over the card, what the 6 cards will represent. The first one is which ancestors are present. What are the relationships to me? The third one is what generational gifts have I inherited from you? The fourth one is what are your hopes for me? The fifth one is how can I honor my heritage? And the sixth one is a healing message from the ancestors. Okay, now there's so much shit that has been syncing up and coinciding, and none of them are linked, directly linked. Yesterday, the message that I gave in my oracle card, wow, this is a deja vu. Holy shit, this is a deja vu. Like, I dreamed this last night, this one moment. Anyways, the oracle message that I gave yesterday from the card that we've been breaking down actually coincided to another person outside of this, that is a personal friend of mine, a message that she relayed yesterday. It was kind of the same thing. Very similar. And then me and my partner were talking, and he realized that lesson that I gave yesterday on strength and vulnerability, and when you need to actually admit to somebody or reach out and say, you know, hey, I need help with this, that's actually not showing a weakness, but that's actually showing strength. He learned that yesterday. So, like, a lot of these things that I've been doing or that have been coming through on these videos and these lives have actually been coinciding and syncing up with everything outside of it. So, the first card that I got with, and there's a reason I stated that, the first card that I got was, what ancestors are present. The card that I actually got was the first major arcana. In my particular deck, it's the Witch. That in itself, because that card not only stands for a witch, but it also stands for a strong grandmother, strong crone, feminine power and presence. And I did this actually right after I got out of the shower. I came in here. I'm starting to do this new thing where I'm trying to come in my craft room when I do this nightly reading, to just also help with the energy in my room, in my craft room. There was another one, heritage, what are some of the gifts that I've inherited? And the particular card, I'm not going to state which one it is, but the meaning behind it was teaching, counseling, communication, education, and that right there is very weird because, two of the people that I follow on Instagram were, wanting their followers were basically, doing one card, one question read so they could practice, reading and stuff. And stuff that's going on in my personal life, I asked a question for that. A big change that will possibly be happening in December. A positive one, though. And two different people now that are in completely two different parts of the world, and we're using two completely different types of tarot decks, right? I asked the same question to. They both responded. It was very weird because one of them actually answered with a yes or no question. The other one, on the other hand, didn't even answer it. Answered something completely different. And it's very weird because I myself haven't exactly understood this, but education, like a new goal, or like a new The word that I'm looking for is not actually coming in my mind, but like a new chapter to do with education and teaching or something like that. And like I'm thinking it's going with the videos, but I'm not for sure. But the tarot deck last night, the Ancestors, that was part of the general message, the healing message that they gave. And it's so insane because it was like all 6 cards were every insecurity that I've had or every doubt that I've had about doing these, my spiritual craft and everything, and all the ideas that are coming to my head were all basically, it was like the Ancestor stepped forward and was like, look, you're on the right path. Stop. Get out of your head. Stop doubting yourself. This is proof. And it's so insane because this new thing that I started doing at night, and it's very new to me. Normally at nighttime, when I actually lay down and like lay my head to sleep and go to sleep, my mind races, but to a point to where it's just the what if, the anxious, for the people who have a racing mind or have anxiety, it's all those thoughts you don't want. But something has changed in me to where it's actually, I'm coming up with some of the, like, I guess it would be downloading, like I'm connecting to the ancestors, I guess. That's the moment where they can connect with me the most, or I'm tapping into something, because the ideas and the thoughts that I've been having, they're not racing, but they're ideas. It's like I'm brainstorming while I'm trying to go to sleep, and I guess because I'm so relaxed, some of the ideas that have been coming through have just been blowing my mind. And it's exciting because I've actually had people on different platforms come to me and message me and tell me that last night, without giving too much away, okay, sorry. There's a bag over here behind me, a plastic bag that has some dried roots and stuff in it, and like it was moving, but the way that it is, I couldn't tell if something was in it or if it was just like falling, so like kind of freaked me out there. But I had a message yesterday come in, and this is from a person who doesn't actually like, there are complications behind her spiritual views, I'll say that. Not saying religious or spiritual, but there were complications, and she found my videos and the challenge, the tarot challenge, she found them very familiar, and she actually said that I look like somebody that she knows. But the person she knows is like 40 years older than me. So it was very cool. It's validation that, these videos are helping people, and my message is getting out there, that I do have to stop comparing myself to everybody else that's already got platforms and everything like that. So, with me sharing that one, tonight, along with the Whispers of the Ancestors, there is a new moon in Sagittarius, board that is up on my Pinterest board. And again, if y'all don't have a Pinterest board, I'm also going to hopefully find a way, because I don't want to screenshot it and take away from the person who actually created the board or created that original post. So I am going to find a way to where y'all can see it, but you don't necessarily have a Pinterest, just in case you don't. That particular person that I'm talking about that reached out to me, she doesn't use Facebook, but through Instagram and YouTube, she found my videos. By the way, for anyone who doesn't want to sit through my live from yesterday to actually go more in depth with the challenge that I'm particularly talking about, I actually did make a specific video. It's only 15 minutes long, I believe. It is. It's 15 and like 2 seconds or something. It was just enough for me not to be able to upload it to Instagram as a IGTV video. Yeah, slightly nicked me off, but it is up, and it actually goes specifically, it just talks about the reason that I came up with the 30-day challenge and everything like that, because this is one of the first times, and I think I've had this deck for, I want to say 3 or 4 years now, and it's one of the first times that I've been truly connected with it. And actually, if y'all want to, on top of the spreads that I've been doing, I also started a thing where I'll do a general, with me, it's 3 cards. I'll do a general 3-card pull of what advice or what what does the universe or guides or ancestors want me to know about this particular day? I've been doing those and also writing it down, and that's been helping me. But with the tarot cards, there's a reason if it's picked that I'm going to do this. Lou Ellens, at one point in time, to my current knowledge, they do not do this anymore. And this was back in the early 2000s. I know they had it around the 90s, but this was back in the early 2000s. But, well, no. Actually, yeah, it was around 2008. No. I think I was like, around the time I actually started practicing. I'll speed this up. Llewellyn's had this binder, which I don't know where the binder that I have, because I actually have the binder. Anyways, I called them and ordered it. It was an actual binder, I'll show y'all like one. It was like this one. It was like an actual binder, but it was slightly smaller than this. And every month, it was like a subscription box. And every month, you would get different types of cards. I did not get the full, complete thing, because it did get to a point to where, like, we couldn't afford it, so... But, the cards that I did get, the particular tarot cards, I got the ones that, who knew, would come in handy today, or later on in my life. And the reason I said if we actually pick these cards is because let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 pieces are cardlet things that I did get for it. Actually, breaks down the major arcanas. It breaks tarot cards and the major arcanas down completely. It breaks the tiny ones down. And then other more informations on like how to read it. So if the tarot card, now there is something I do want to say special about this. That'll eventually come. But if y'all were to pick, because the last time that I checked, the actual balance or the poll that I had on this page was actually tied. So if we do pick the tarot cards, not only are we going to break this entire deck down, but we're going over them all. And see, I like this deck because it's very paganish, I would say witchy, but it, at the same time, a lot of people would be comfortable with these, but there are 2 other decks. There's actually about 4 decks that I want to get my hands on, but I do intend to get another deck because I like having a deck that's more artsy and less, it like has no magical symbols on it, just because there are people that just would be uncomfortable with getting a reading, and there being symbols like this on there, it can make them uncomfortable. But, I will take a picture of these, or try to find a copy online to where y'all can actually keep up with them too. And on down the road, sometime next year, I will actually try to make one, but a digital one, to where I could upload it to where y'all could actually see them. Because like I said, I want to share as much knowledge as I have, but at the same time, like, I don't know how I feel about, like, if I had a printer and everything, which I don't have, which I'm manifesting in my life, a printer and a scanner, but I would love to, like, scan these and, like, do like that, but that goes into plagiarism and all the other stuff. But, yes, we would actually be breaking down the entire deck. Everything about it. Major arcanas, the minor arcanas, everything. But with that being stated, I did go over that. I do want to go over some stones for protection, and I do have some of them to where I can actually show you what they look like. Also, on another cool little note, I made this little bad boy this morning. Yes, it is dark, but that's not the purpose. This is not a spell candle. This is just a candle. But this right here was actually made from recycled candles. Unless it's like a spell. Now, if I've done a specific spell for a specific reason, that's another thing. But regular candles that I do use that are mixed with some just basic spell candles, I actually save them. So, like, the pieces that when the wick burns out but there's still candle left, I actually just save all of them. Even with the, like, round pillar ones, when it, like, burns out and there's so much more candle left. So I will be making a small video on budget witching, how to, like, recycle those candles, and a way to cleanse the, essence of them from, like, previous spells. But I myself, on the other hand, I like using them. Now, if I did a spell for a friend or for a client, those and that wax, of course, does not get mixed in with the wax that I'm talking about. I keep that separate, work from play in a way. But, any spells that I specifically do, or I like to call them blessings, because I don't really do a lot of spells as much as they're just kind of glamours or blessings to, like, kind of attract stuff to me. I am very self-conscious about how my craft room and how I work, because I have to work in organized chaos. If I were to organize everything all nicely and properly in my craft room, then it would be destroyed in probably the next 20 minutes, because I'd wind up looking for something, and I would organize that and then forgot where I put it. So my work is a little chaotic, but my magic's not. Which is funny, because I actually used to claim at one point in time that I practiced chaos magic. And the only reason I said that, now I'm about to get to the traveling stones, or the safety travel. But the only reason that I used to say chaos magic was because, for one, at that point in time, I actually did not know that that was actually a type of path, chaos magic. I did not know that. I do know that now. But it is very weird, because I used to say my magic was chaotic because a lot of my magic was never planned. Even when I was a beginner, or even when I was in my sprout stage, it wasn't planned. Like, and the ones that I actually did plan and I did follow step by step from the book, it never felt right to me. Like, there was always this awkwardness. And I think, in a way, the reason that is because, when it comes to, I'll say Wicca, because there is a lot of, authors out there who have done this, which it is changing, but to me, when you have someone who tells you you have to do this word by word, step by step, correspondent by correspondent, exact ingredient by exact ingredient, or it's not going to work. To me, that is like somebody handing me one of Van Gogh's paintings and telling me, or Van Gogh himself handing me his painting and telling me to recreate it stroke by brush stroke, by perfect brush stroke, by paint color, by everything. Make basically an exact replica. You can't. It wouldn't feel right. It's not original. There's none of your original spin or your original taste. And that is the reason that I believe, and I'm actually against that type of behavior and teaching in the craft, because if you're just copying hand by hand repeatedly the same thing through generation, through student, through other member of this practice over and over again, nothing new. It's not evolving. It's being stale. You're being stale, and eventually it's going to get stagnant, and then it's not going to evolve and grow and move with the times. Again, I'm taking notes of everything. But, and with my magic, and the way that I've always done magic is, and actually I think I heard this on a podcast, or I saw it on a post, or in a YouTube video, and it was something very simpler. I think it was on Instagram, actually. It was an author of a book that's coming out very soon, I believe. But he made a note to say that if you were following another witch's recipe, or if you were following another recipe, and this is very funny because I mean this in a magical sense, but this is also in just normal life with cooking, using a family recipe. What do you do to that family recipe? You're going to add something a little different, or you're going to add something small, but you're going to add something yourself to make that personal, to make you part of that generational recipe, right? Because when I have kids, that's what I plan on doing. I would love to actually have a specific meal or a specific dish to where every generational line, everybody who, when they get that recipe, when it's passed down, I would love for them to write something or add an ingredient to it. And that way, 50 years from now, if my generation hopefully continues, my bloodline, think about what an amazing, amazing process or soup or casserole or dish that would be. I mean, it could even get to a point to where they could add, like, actually compare drinks or wine or other sides to it, and literally 10 years from now, you could have an actual, or not 10 years, but say 2 generations down, you can have an entire ancestral meal where literally every aspect of everything you were about to digest, ancestors before you or family members before you helped make it, or helped at least how it's going to taste. See, that's why I love these. I love these lives, y'all. I so love these. Now, really quick, the Craft the remake. There is a new post from Instagram on this wall that I posted earlier this morning. It is about costumes and stuff like that, but it's not from a fan page. It is from actually one of the actresses who are going to be playing in it. So, but yes, and Ancestor's recipe. Okay. It's very funny because I also listen to podcasts. When I'm not doing these, when I'm like just doing stuff around the house, I either listen to podcasts or I watch TV shows, or because like I have my own personal, like, it's just my entertainment TV shows, and then I also have TV shows that I will watch from like Discovery Channel or their documentary type shows to where I'll learn stuff too. I've always been like that. That's also one of the reasons I'm like that person who has a lot of random knowledge, and the subjects that I have knowledge to, none of them link up, but, but with that being stated, that's also why I've been updating on the TV shows and everything, but I actually don't even know what I was doing with that, or where I was going with that one. Where was I going with that one? TV shows. Okay. Oh yeah, podcast. Sorry. My brain went... So, the podcast that I was listening to today, actually, they were talking about ancestors. And, for the Spotify, for the people who use Spotify, if you're interested in the podcast, or if you can find this podcast anywhere else, it's 3 Pagans and a Cat. They're actually a family, mother and father and daughter, I believe. They're really good listening to on the podcast. I do have something exciting to say. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. Anyways, their episode this morning, or the one that I was listening to, was on ancestors. And I believe they do their podcast, but they also do a live, so people are writing in. And some of the questions were actually really interesting, which I've actually went over one, which is, what happens if you have an ancestor that would not approve of the pagan thing. And the way that they worded it made me realize something else. For one, like I've discussed before in other videos, you will change. Like, that's the whole seeing different things. That's, again, I believe that when you pass away and you become a spirit or an ancestor, which there's not really a difference, but in my belief there slightly is, and I may explain that in a different video, but, you lose the ego. You lose that humanist tie. Small things that our minds have set up to kind of put us in a box, or to, these invisible theories, and these, for example, the string theory, multiple other things that we live our lives by. We don't know if they're real or not. We don't know if it's actual fact. It's just the only thing that makes sense, and the only thing that the mass population wouldn't question, so that's what we're doing. Time, for example. Time is completely made up human concept. Think about that. we literally, our world itself works around time. What time you have to be at school, what time of this. You have people in some countries who literally stress out over it so much they literally work themselves to death. And it's all about pressure and how much time you're being put under and, all of that. And time doesn't exist. Time is literally just a way for us to figure out how long this earth or how long we've been here. That's it. Animals they don't even, I guess, realize or recognize time as a thing. It's all us. Like, it is completely, if you see me doing anything on the side, I'm emptying this candle. I realize this candle is made from primarily, I believe, soy or something, but it melts really, really fast. But, so, like, time, completely made up concept, but we have enslaved ourselves as a human species, we've enslaved ourselves by something that doesn't technically even exist. It's just a concept. But, with that, okay. Now, I said that I didn't find any charms that I would do, because, like I stated before, Kate, let me find the book. Kate West. Hold on. Kate West, she, in her book of, The Witch's Book of Spells and Rituals, she stated in there, when it comes to, like, blessing your car and stuff like that, you really have to be specific with how you bless it. And it's very funny that I'm about to say this particular thing, because it is going to tie into the Oracle card of the day. Blind spots. All cars have blind spots. If you protect your car too much, or if you don't word the way that you want your protection and what type of protection you have, you could, in theory, make your car to a point to where it's so protected it's almost invisible to other drivers. Therefore, it'll get caught in somebody's blind spot, and you could actually cause an accident. And with that, I was like, well, traveling, but I did find out the one thing that's very easy. I did see a lot of traveling charms, but I guess, you could make them, and I will, if y'all would be interested in that. I can go back and, like, post some of the ones, that I found, or I can at least post some of the ingredients that you can use for safe travel that you could put in a spell jar. But for me, the only thing I thought was airport, which I don't travel airport-wise. I've done it twice, going somewhere and coming back, and it was it's when I was younger, put it that way. But I was like, small jars, bunch of random ingredients. That made fun. Yeah, no. So I was like, what else can you travel, and it will not take up much space at all, and you'll be able to have them either in your car, or on your luggage, or on you personally. Crystals. So, with these crystals, I have actual some for, like, specific things, but in general, they all do stand for protection. And I also have some of the ones that I actually have. For one, we'll go ahead, because I didn't actually bring one over here, except for the one that I'm wearing. Of course, Tiger's Eye, everybody. Tiger's Eye is great for travel. Not only is it great for travel and protection, but it is also great for, confidence and self-esteem, boosting, courage. So great for travel. If you hear any loud noises or anything that sounds like a construction, it's the trash people or the recycling people one. But with that being said, selenite, of course, keeps calm, purification. Amethyst, which I'm pretty sure everybody. Amethyst, and then I'm obsessed with the amethyst. This is the amethyst piece, and then this is one that I've had 6 years now. No, yeah, about 6 years. I actually found that at the Peanut Festival in Alabama. which I damn sure will not be going to no type of, no, I couldn't do one of those if I knew. No. I would have to be very, 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 very medicated. But we have that one, and of course, Hagstone. And actually, interesting story behind this. My partner's father, who I will still have come on here at one point in time and do interview, as I've stated before, he is a very Christian man. He goes to church every Sunday, but he is from a generation they don't teach them like that anymore. My grandmother was from the same generation, but they just don't teach. He's very one of a kind because he has accepted me with open arms, and honestly, he is one of the only father figures I've ever had in my life. But with that being stated, he actually randomly found me this. He is also the one that I told you about who has the almost magical ability to pick up meteorites, real true meteorites. But he found this one day randomly. He had no idea what they were called. He was just like, well, that looks cool. It's a stone with a natural hole in it. And lo and behold, it's very funny that he found me this because I had been researching these. And what they are, hagstones, there are different beliefs behind them, but they're great for travel. There are folklore, or also it's stated that you look through it and you can see fairies or the fae. Also, this goes back with anybody who read it or watched the movie, The Spiderwick Chronicles. That's where they got it from. These holes are naturally found. Traditionally, I believe they're normally found next to riverbanks because the water running over it over again. But basically, a hagstone is any stone that has a hole completely through it that is naturally made. And I also believe, I think it's Roman or Greek. One of them believed that it is made when I think the legend behind it is like it was made when giant serpents got together and mated. Some of their venom leaks out of their mouth, and it actually leaked through here, and it's what created the hole. But you basically wear it around your neck for safe travel. It also helps to bring luck. And then we have smoky quartz. Where's it at? I think it's in my pocket. Oh, I did bring it. Okay. Smoky quartz, my favorite. Very, very, I love smoky quartz. It's grounding. It helps you ground. It can filter out anxious thoughts and anxiety. It can be programmed to. And this is another piece of tiger's eye for the people who want to see it more. Now, it's very interesting with tiger's eye because I found out another one that I did not know of, which is called, it's a type of moonstone. I mean, it's a type of blue tiger's eye, and it is basically actually one of my friends actually gave me a piece without knowing what it is. But it's basically, it is blue tiger's eye that I believe is slightly mixed with lavenderite, and also lavenderite. Also, a good stone to travel with, too. I actually made this. The original stone was a birthday gift from my partner when I first got down here, and I got it from, I think, All Wired Up on Etsy. He got it for me, but the cage that it originally came in, due to me wearing it so much, kind of broke. So, now, with this, if you do carry lavenderite on you, be careful with it, because it is a manifestation stone. Speaking of manifestation stone, there's also, hope I say this right, malachite. It's this stone right here. Now, with this, be careful with this stone, because most malachite has a plastic, almost like a plastic coating on it, and it is due to the fact that if that gets too hot, or if it gets wet, it can become toxic and release a gas. So, be careful with the malachite. Also, moonstone, this particular one is rainbow moonstone, if it'll show. Let me see if I can get it to show. There you go. Look at that. That is rainbow moonstone. Believe it or not, I also found out rainbow moonstone is a sister stone to lavenderite. And it is believed that lavenderite was made from the aurora borealis, Or the Northern Lights, it is made from the fire of the Northern Lights, which is also why that flash of green and blue is on there. Okay, I went over that. Yellow jasper is very good. Black tourmaline, aquamarine, and turquoise. This is turquoise, of course. I don't actually have a piece of aquamarine. But aquamarine, of course, and turquoise is good for if you're traveling over the sea or if you are traveling by boat. And there was another one. Oh, malachite was for air travel. There's granite, moonstone, selenite. Yeah. Yellow jasper. Yeah. Those are the ones that I looked up. They're all great for safe traveling and to carry with you. And of course, if you do not have those, you can use crystal quartz or clear quartz. Clear quartz is, it can be basically, it can mimic and or copy. And of course, rose quartz also really good to travel with. Yeah. So those are the stones that I came up with. And with that and with the reference that I used about being careful of how you do cars, and how, like, you know. Oh, yeah. I do want to say something. Yesterday, when I was talking about the Llewellyn Spellidae Almanac, I did want to say something that I slightly missed out on yesterday. Llewellyn's actually, on their website, actually gives out, which I've been sharing here on my page, and I've also been sharing on my Twitter, they actually release the Spellidae Almanac, or they actually have a section on their site where it gives you a spell a day, just like the book does. So you should totally check that out too. But yeah, with that being stated, let me grab my phone. Today's card, now this particular card, it's a 50-50 of how I feel about it. Skull of Darkness, aka Blind Spot. No, it's not a negative card, it's just... But let me read you this because the phone's also dying. By the way, app you can get if you have this card, or if you have this deck and you lose the book at any point, there's an app in the App Store. I think it's like $2 you can get. It's the entire deck and the entire cards in one app. You can do readings, save those readings, and email them out. So, without further ado, the card. Blind Spot, Skull of Darkness, Blind Spot. We may not wish to delve there, the shadows, the darkness, the unknown. Yet, when we search, we reveal, and our power, it has grown. And this actually kind of is filling for the new moon. The shadow part. The beautiful and mysterious Skull of Darkness encourages us to look to a part of ourselves that normally remains hidden or unseen as possible. We may not appreciate or like certain aspects of ourselves, and yet sometimes our greatest treasures lie within these areas. How many times have I said that? Talks about the shadow self. How many times have you heard of a famous artist or people extremely successful in their field being bullied for being so different? Yet it is their very difference from others that makes them so powerful. Additionally, all of us at some stage of our life have certain blind spots. Protection, Additionally, all of us have blind spots that may cause us grief and trouble. Although we cannot see the issue clearly, it is the repeated pattern of pain that alerts us to them. Symptoms, if you will. For example, the same things keep happening over and over and over again. We may be betrayed repeatedly, fail at something repeatedly, not complete tasks constantly. Peace and patterns breaking can be achieved by doing the work in uncovering our blind spots, or even consulting trusted close friends or professionals to assist us to see what we cannot. That actually ties in, coincides with also the strength and the message that I gave out yesterday, but basically what this is stating is there are all types of blind spots in our lives. Now, particularly when I do readings with this card, I also sometimes take this literally. This is the card in my deck that basically states either A, it's not meant for that person to know about it yet. So it actually is kind of that, my deck's way of throwing that card out and saying, hey, nope, stop, we're not telling you anymore. But it's also other aspects of blind spots in your life. This can also be tied in with A, ancestral ancestral, I don't want to say curses, because that's a little, but ancestral problems. Basically, it's an ancestral thing that just keeps repeating. Or it could also be a lesson from your past life that you haven't figured out. Now, I myself, at a younger age, when I was, I would say about 17 is when about 18 actually is when I started realizing it. And about 17 or 18 is when I started realizing that, there was a pattern in my romance department in my life. With my partners, there was a certain way that every relationship that would end, there were certain similarities to where of how it would ending or it would be reversed. And the partner that I'm with now, knock on wood, I believe, helped me realize those patterns, and it helped me, well, basically, it helped me, or he helped me realize those patterns, or at least he helped me learn how to break them, through stuff that me and him have personally been together, or been through, and it's very funny because there are also patterns that I'm very good at learning pattern, or I'm very good at spotting the patterns. It does take me some time to break them. But I believe that in some aspects that there are certain aspects or certain patterns or certain blind spots that are from our past life that we did not accomplish or we did not finish, or it could actually be relationship karma from your past life. And what that basically means is there may have been something in one of your past lives where there was a bunch of stuff going on in your romance division that kind of carried on, like unfinished business, say you get cheated on a lot, or vice versa, say you have a problem with cheating, or lying, small stuff like that, or say you're one of those people that always attract the bad guy. What I mean by the bad guy is the bad boy look. You know how this is going to end already before you even start the relationship, but you started it anyways and go through the process, and you don't know why. But there's an aspect that's drawn so much to that. That could be something from your past life. And hey, that ties in. It's so crazy how all this stuff is tying in. And I promise y'all, I'm not planning any of this. Promise you I'm not. Subconsciously, I may be putting things together, but consciously, I am not. But that goes in with the Whispers of the Ancestors, the one that you did, or the one that you'll be doing tonight, Whispers of the Ancestors. That actually can also tie into the New Moon in Sagittarius reading, because it is learning stuff about yourself. And then that primarily goes into last night's one that y'all did, which would be the past life questions. So, see, it's all tying in together, people. I did want to state tomorrow, again, is going to be slightly different, because I will not be here. If it goes as the way it's planned, I will not be here. With that, I will be in town, and I will be hanging out in a car. As weird as that sounds. But, with that being stated, so it will be different. The sound there may be certain loud noises and stuff, but I can't help that. I'm going to do it. Thursday, on the other hand, on Thanksgiving, I will not be doing a live. I may pop on here and, do random updates. I also have one or two prayers that I'm going to put down on this, or put down in the comments, or at least post on my wall before Thanksgiving out of one of the spell books, two of the ones that I use. One is going to be a kitchen witch spell. It's kind of just something that you say over the food that you're cooking, and you will visualize a certain color. The other one is an actual prayer that is basically just giving thanks for everything, and it's perfect because Thanksgiving, cornucopia of food and everything, giving thanks to everything, part of the earth, it goes hand in hand with that. So, yeah, there's, again, with this channel and all the people that constantly stay by, and if they can't watch my lives due to how their life is, but they still try to catch up on it, thank y'all so much. Again, I'm still growing, so, I'm not really doing this, and the only reason, because, I keep saying I'm not doing this for the followers and the views and stuff like that, I'm not, but at the same time, I do want to make sure these videos get out there as much as possible, in every way possible, and I'm also trying to do this all organically. Let's see, there's the platforms that I'm working off of, there's technically 5 to 6 platforms that I'm using, but they're all tied in with Fire Lotus and these lives. So yeah, I myself, and then there are a few other ones that I'll specifically use on different devices that I just boost post. With that being stated, I did want to announce it will not be ready until sometime next year, but for the people who do follow me on Instagram, a new account will be coming. It will be tied in with the Fire Lotus account that I have now, but it will introduce, or basically it will just be magic. Pictures of past stuff that I've done, but with informational quotes or something like that. I'm still figuring that out. Today, though, the moon is in Sagittarius. It's the Sagittarius new moon. But, with the blind spot, I did want to also tie in this. You know, blind spots, sometimes they're not always necessarily bad. At all. Sorry, I just got a friend request. I don't know who it's from. Okay. But, blind spots are not always bad. There are some times and there are some moments in our lives where the universe kind of is like ripping a band-aid off. That's also how some blind spots go. But that also can be that there are blind spots. There are aspects to yourself that you're not looking at, or you're overlooking, or for some reason are slightly hidden. There are talents that we all have that are slightly hidden until we need them. It's also like crystals, for example. Crystals, I've had experiences. I've heard of hundreds of other different experiences from family members. Well, yeah, family members, friends, associates, all types of stuff, all types of people, all different types of lives that have crystals in their lives or minerals in their lives. And there's also a saying, this also ties in with magical tools too. At certain points in times with crystals, there are certain crystals that you either won't learn about, or for some reason you'll overlook your initial start, or you will never be able to get your hands on for some reason until you need them. Prime example, honestly, are these two. These I'm trying to add a piece of citrine on there. Hi! Unless I break everything. Sorry about that. This right here is a citrine celestial, or alestrial, or also known as alligator quartz. I've talked about it before. This one right here, I also believe is smoky quartz celestial. I still got to get it verified, really. But I've had this, I received this, just like a lot of my stones, from one of my ex. He was going through a minimalist where he was giving all of his stuff away. And he had a bunch of different stones that he'd gotten from when he lived close to a museum. But anyways, I'd had this for years, and I've had people tell me that it's just glass, and I knew for a fact it wasn't. I knew for a fact it was a stone, but I never really understood or knew what it was. The day that I actually learned what a celestial was, or the day that, it was a very, I found this out in a magical way, but I had been looking for a stone right as I started my path with practicing and helping, get in touch with my ancestors, even on a deep ancestral line. I had the stone with me the entire time. These are really good for that. These are also really great for that. But basically, and it's just like this one, the Hagstone. I've been wanting one, and I could never get my hands on it, and then all of a sudden it was gifted to me. So that's what I mean by there was a pendulum that I used to have. It was my very first pendulum, which was also a lavenderite pendulum. And when I worked at the store that I used to work at, Lunation, I would go and I would ask it, "Are you ready for me? Are you ready for me?" And it would say no, and I would literally, like, on my break, or if I arrived early, I would literally go up there and I would test it, because I'm really good with pendulums for some reason. I can in tune with them really well. And a lot of people can. I know a lot of people who can pick up a pendulum for the very first time, and it's just that energy just, matches up with it. And I also will go over pendulums and how to use it and techniques, because I did learn techniques from a woman who is like another mom to me. But she taught me a way that she learned from Germany, of how to kind of help hone in the pendulum to you. And by the way, a pendulum can be anything that's dangling from a string. Like most of the stone necklaces that I have, I've used as pendulums before. But this particular pendulum, it was a lavenderite, and it had a flash on it that I loved. And I had witnesses that, like, this was not the same, like, somebody had bought the one that I was originally asking. No, it was the exact same one. For a year and a half, I asked, were you ready? Were you ready? Were you ready? Were you ready? And it just so happened, around, I think it was Christmas, I was getting a really good check because we just had a Black Friday sale, so, I had the extra money, and it was ready for me. It's just like my Halloween deck. I would ask the pendulum when it was ready for me. So they both came to me. And I used to use that pendulum religiously. Like, I would ask it I would carry it. There was a point in time when I first got it, which I do with a lot of the stuff and stones that I get. If it's very new, I try to carry it with me for at least like a month and a half, constantly on me, either around my neck or on my pocket or something like that. I'll sleep with it up under my pillow to get it really connected to me. And all of a sudden, one day, poof, it was gone. And I still never found it. And I moved from that property when I moved down here, the old property that I used to live on, in Gainesville. When we moved, I searched that house top and bottom. I searched the property. I did everything. I could not find it. And shortly after that was when I was introduced into the thought that, due to the fact that crystals work on vibrations higher than us or some lower than us, and other people believe that they're also not from Earth, that they're actually from another dimension, basically some crystals and magical tools, when they're no longer serve you, or when you no longer have a purpose for them, they will find a way to just kind of poof. Either that, or you'll wind up having a feeling to give it to somebody else, to gift it, to pass it on. I've heard of stories, and I've had stories of where I've lost a stone, a particular stone, or a necklace, for example, and I couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere, and then like 6 months later, or 2 months later, or a week later, it would be in the place that I'd looked over 1,000 times. It was just there. I've had a moment, actually, when I moved to Alabama, that something that I left here, and I know for a fact I left it here, magically showed up at the new house that I'd moved into. So there are plenty of moments of where crystals, they do have their own way of thinking, and they have their own mind. And if you're new to the metaphysical or spiritual process, that is a very great way to start, because to walk into a crystal shop, you can get, in most crystal shops, you can get most tumbled stones like this for like $1 or 50 cents, depending on where you go. And they don't have to. I preferably, though, my preference is I like the more rough cut, for example, like this. I like that whole, oh no, what's another? Do I have a rough cut of something? Not right here at this moment, but I prefer rough cut stuff over tumbled. That's just me, though. Like, I still want to get my hands on a piece of lavenderite that's rough cut, or not tumbled or polished. I guess that would be a better word. Unpolished. But this is one, I got this from Lunation. Lunation, by the way, they're an amazing place for crystals. And in Gainesville, there are 2 stores in Gainesville that you can get crystals from, that I'm aware of. There could be more. I'm not for sure. But yes, I'm making sure I went over everything. I know this is different from some of them. I also, like I said, I used up my data. So Like this particular video, this will be posted to my YouTube later on throughout today, or later on tonight it'll be uploaded. But yes, make sure, please, if you do watch these videos, please make sure you post on the poll, because I do want to know if we're going to be doing the Oracle deck or if we're going to be doing the Tarot deck. And the reason that is because if we do pick to do another Oracle deck, I want to do it properly, which is I will find personal information, or I'll find information to break down an Oracle deck and the difference between Oracle and Tarot. Tarot, for the people that don't know. Now, with this being stated and all the astrology stuff that I talk about, I do want to admit I am no expert in any way. With all the astrologer stuff that I know, it is either stuff that I've learned or by the app that I always talk about. None of the stuff that I talk about is also paid, so I'm just talking about this. It's free, Astro Matrix. I'll post a link. It breaks down and helps with astrology and helps you teaches you astrology in a very simple way every day. And then just with all the people that I follow on different platforms, that, and then basically what I'm trying to state, I'm not trying to state that I'm an expert in any way, shape, or form on anything that I talk about, because I'm not. I don't think I will ever be an expert, and honestly, I don't think anybody could ever be an expert on these topics, because you learn stuff every day. But yeah, I am excited, and please, if you will, I don't care if you see this on YouTube, if you, at any point in time, if you see this video and you are participating in the 30-day tarot challenge, will you please let me know? Because I just want to I personally want to know how many people are doing it and how many people can give it feedback, because I just want to know if, like, these challenges are things that if I come up with more of them, or if Spirit or Guide tells me more or helps me discover more, I can keep posting them. With that, there will be an episode coming soon, probably after Thanksgiving, about a particular type of, deity, or deity, and not even on a deity thing, but something very close to my heart, but it's something that I also did not know at all. And actually, no, I'm going to talk about this now, actually. I'll talk about one of them. One of them, the one that I know of, a little bit. So, to a lot of people, I love the term and the concept of androgynous. Now, the reason I love that is because I've struggled with the whole, because I am a man, I'm body-wise a man, but I also have a lot of feminine qualities, and I'm okay with that. Like, I love it, honestly, because to me, it's like the perfect balance of man and female, because in the pagan community, or in the witch community, especially Wicca, because I personally saw this and heard this and talked to other Wiccans about it, for the men in some of it, because a lot of witchcraft or spiritual views like this, a lot of it is very heavily feminine, which is fine. I'm just saying in general, it's very feminine. And sometimes men can feel left out, especially those men that are not part of the LGBT community. I'm hoping I'm saying this right, but because I'm not trying to offend anybody, but with men in general, there's that tough man mentality, like you're not truly a man if you cry, and all this other bullshit that hopefully and truly, it's already dying out. But for a man who was taught to, you have to be this way to be manly, to dive into a spiritual path that is primarily feminine, it's not primarily, but it's heavily feminine based and everything, you can get kind of lost, and it's very hard to explain, or I'm having a hard time articulating it, but it can be discouraging in a way for men. So I was like, and even me, I still suffer from it when I get around actual, like, what I quote mid, like, straight men, I guess. I don't know, the manly men. I don't know what I'm trying to say or how to word that properly, but when I get around certain guys, um, and this is just all in my head, and this has nothing to do with them, but I feel like inferior to them in a way, I guess, because I'm more, and I don't hide it, I have more feminine aspects than I would a man, or masculine aspects. But I've also learned that to me, that's not a weakness. To me, that makes me stronger because I'll cry. I'll cry watching movies. I've cried listening to songs. Like, I'm not afraid to cry. Because I know that being a true man or being masculine, it's not about what society has put the sex, like, depending on your sex, is depending on how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to feel, how you're supposed to act, and all this other shit. So through that, I've been exploring androgynous. And I was like, well, wait, there's one particular um, symbol, I'll say, or I use deity loosely because I myself still have to do more research, but it's basically Baphomet. And there's another one too that I just recently realized is actually supposed to be androgynous. And then there's an actual another one part of the Greek pantheon who actually is androgynous. He was born, or they were born androgynous. I'll say they. But Baphomet, that is the reason Baphomet is actually a representation of androgynous because he has the boobs, but he has the male part downstairs, and it. I found it when I myself admitted to myself that I'm not, I believe personally that I have a perfect balance between masculine and feminine because I can be both when I need to be both. Um, and that's actually helped me in my craft. It's also, I had to teach myself that it was okay for that. Or let me rephrase that. I had to unteach stuff that was taught to me as I was growing up due to how society was and where I was living in the area of southern small town that I was living in. Um, and through that, I also discovered Loki has also been stated or has been linked to androgynous. And there's another theory that with androgynous, or some other topics, but I won't go into that too much until I'm more figured out with it. But I also believe that in a past life, you can also, just because you're a male in this life or a female in this life, you could have been the opposite sex in another life. And that's also that's also why I believe that I'm embracing this because I have strong, strong memories almost. It's like a faded, vague memory of me looking a certain way when I look in the mirror. And then I have other memories of me looking the complete opposite way. So it's very cool and it's very growing, and that is something that I actually haven't really talked about that much. For honestly, it's not really anybody else's concern, and I don't. Well, basically, if I were to get any negative feedback on anything that I just said, it's other people's thoughts. But and I'm pretty sure though the people that do have me outside of this as like friends and everything that talk to me, I'm pretty sure y'all have noticed that more and more. I've learned to embrace that because to me it's the perfect balance of life in a way. It's the perfect balance of feminine, it's yin and yang perfectly down to everything. But with that, I love it because I was primarily raised by my mom. So I didn't really have a strong masculine force in my life growing up. So due to that, because I would say the way that me and my partner talk about it is, and this will come off as sexist, and I'm not trying to, but most females, they tend to use their emotions, which is how I am, but they live off their emotions. That's how they read the world. Men, on the other hand, due to the fact that, the whole manly man, no emotion thing, they're kind of more analytical and more like cutthroat, and, y'all know what I'm trying to say, but I'm also trying to say it in a respectful manner. And since I was raised by my mom, I learned, I live off of my emotions. That's how I view people. It also helped me learning to read your emotions and trusting your emotions and trusting your natural instincts also in and itself will help build your own intuition. And it validates that and backs that. And then actually doing with the tarot cards and all the spreads that we'll be doing will help back that too. It'll help make that strongation more stronger. But so yeah, that's a new chapter that I'm exploring. But I actually recently discovered last night, and I will be doing more research on it today. There's an actual Greek pantheon. Aphrodite. It's Aphrodite. It's one of Aphrodite's kids. They are actually the representation, or their name, because I don't want to say the name yet because I have trouble pronouncing certain names. But it is basically, it's Hermes and Hermaphrodite's child. Or Hermes and Aphrodite's child is actually, they were born with the perfect representation of a hermaphrodite or androgynous. But that is something that I'm exploring more. And in the Wiccan community, like I stated before, with the whole men, there are specific books, which is kind of weird because I haven't found a book that I'm about to explain that doesn't have an LGBT side to it, basically by a gay author. But it's how to embrace the goddess if you are male. And a lot of the books that I have stumbled upon, they are primarily part of the LGBT. If there is a book out there, if anybody sees this and there is a book out there about how to embrace the goddess, even if you are a male, and it's not LGBT based, and what I mean by that is a lot of the books that I've seen about the person who written it, they were gay, or they were part of the LGBT life. And to a guy who is coming into the craft, who is just straight, and depending on how they were raised, they may not want, or that in itself may discourage them from reading it. So if there is another book out like there, let me know. But for me, I don't care, because when it comes to sexuality in general, I'm pan, so, and it's very weird, because everything that I'm saying, it's like, wow, and there's one part of my head that's like, wow, you're just spiritual in every aspect of your life, and I kind of am. I've always been like that. It's so weird because I'm trying so, and I've seen it actually from last year to this year. I myself can look in the mirror and I'm like, whoa, I'm growing spiritually, and I love it, and it's insane. It literally, it is insane of how much it will change you, of just changing your perspective and letting go sometimes of your ego, of pride, and or showing your being very vulnerable to show your strengths, and to always change your perspective. If you come across a situation at any point in your life, in any aspect of your life, try to step out of the equation. Try to step out of it and look through the looking glass in it. And what I mean by that is, in other words, try taking yourself completely out and imagining if you were viewing it outside of it and there was another person doing it. What would you say? Either that, or try to put yourself in the shoes of another person, or of that person. Now what I mean by that is, I'm not saying when you do that, just automatically agree with them. 9 times out of 10, if I won't agree with somebody, or if I do not agree with them, I will agree to disagree with them. Or I will state, okay, I accept and I agree with that is what you believe and that is how you see the world. In other words, that is me, and that is my way of saying, okay, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand that's how you live your life, and I will respect that. And that's how it needs to be. Just because, and people lose that, we completely lose the idea of, oh wait, just because we're behind a keyboard does not mean we can say anything we want. This goes off on something completely different, but I'm pretty sure at one point in time it will come into the pagan community. This cancel culture about basically, dogging somebody out online just to get a negative aspect. Again, people, everybody, we're moving into a different age now due to the technology boom that honestly, I myself don't even know where it's going to go or how it's going to go, but I do realize that, and actually I learned something today that I'm going to have to do research on, which is apparently there's this new type of witchcraft that's catching on, and it's all to do with its pop culture witchcraft, or pop cult craft. I don't know. Basically, I guess it's like the newer generational witchcraft. I don't know, but it's mainly all based upon pop culture. Now, with that being stated, and the podcast that I was listening to that I talked about earlier, there was something that was stated on there, and I want to ask what y'all think. What are your opinions on bringing technology or using technology in a craft sense? Like having, and I actually love this idea, but for Ancestor Altar, if you have a smaller space on the podcast of 3 pagans and a cat, they stated that they use a digital picture frame. That way they can have multiple pictures of their ancestors, but they don't have to worry about having like this giant table with all these pictures. What do you think about that? Like, and I've stated before, I myself struggle with this whole technology with this something that's kind of older than that. But at the same time, we live in a world now where you kind of can't live without technology. It's very hard for a lot of people. So, like, I understand that, and I've talked about how the gods and goddesses have incorporated, and how, in general, technology itself has become its own entity, like a goddess or a god. Just basically, in a way, it's like the internet. We've created our own. Humanity has created its own Akasha records online, basically. So yeah, that is that. I may actually I'm feeling really good about this and today, so I may actually make another YouTube video, and due to the fact that I use my hotspot until later on tonight, it is a way for me to be able to upload more videos and to get more content out there. It's just when I sit down to actually make a YouTube video, I sometimes get very, very intimidated. I don't know why, because I still upload these there, so I don't know. But, yes, that will be the chat. I will be winding it down. But with that being stated, the board, my Pinterest board with the Tarot 30-day challenge is posted on my wall. I actually posted it, I believe, right before I came on here. With the next one, there's a bonus one on there, the New Moon Sagittarius. Y'all will be doing, or anybody who is participating in it will be doing the Whisper of the Ancestors. And then tomorrow, which is also on there, I believe, tomorrow night, which is what I will be doing tonight also, I'll be doing the New Moon Sagittarius, and I will be doing the new spread. I have to figure out an easier way to say that. But the spread that y'all will be doing tomorrow is interviewing your deck. And it's a 6-card spread to where it's specifically just you and your tarot deck. So you're actually interviewing your tarot deck. So yeah, that's going to be exciting. I'm doing that tonight, but that's going to be exciting. Very, very exciting. I myself am seeing. So yes, the card of the day for anyone was Skull of Darkness, Blind Spots. Seriously wish that would stop that. So yes, I went over the crystals. I went over so much other stuff. So yeah. Also, the poll, again, if you do see this and you like what I'm saying, or you want to participate in the challenge, please let me know. And then share, send to a friend. I don't know. Just know I do these Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also have a Instagram, I have a YouTube, I have a Twitter, I have a Pinterest. I think that's all. Oh, I also have a PayPal. Like I stated before, at any point in time, feel free to message me for custom readings, or oracle readings, and or tarot readings, and or custom spell work. So yeah, And again, tomorrow morning, for everybody who tunes in, tomorrow morning it will probably be around the same time. May do it a little bit earlier because I'm already going to be awake. So I may actually do tomorrow's around 9. And I apologize in advance for any of the loud sounds that y'all hear tomorrow. But, yeah, until then, I hope y'all have a magical morning, noon, and night. Again, tonight is the new moon. If you have the Astrometric app already downloaded, because I know a few people do, you should totally check it out. It's very cool. For the people that don't, I will also post a link. I normally post a link about everything that I do. Also, I wanted to state again, if you have a small business, if you do readings, if you do any type of craft work or anything like that, or if you have an online shop or anything like that that's local for here where I live, or just in general, well, yeah, for here where I live locally, let me know. Anyone in Alabama, let me know too. I'm trying to do shout outs because I know Black Friday and Christmas is coming, so I want to do shout outs for any local businesses. There's another one that I will hopefully be shouting out tomorrow. I do want to ask her though if it's okay. But shop local if you can. Like, legit, shop local. Screw Amazon. Screw all the other ones. Shop local. I do know, though, on the other hand, there are other people that, now with this, if you are in a situation to where you don't have a spiritual store or a occult store or anything like that near you, you can shop online, but try to still find someone that, it's like 1 or 2 people doing it themselves out of their house. Try to find, what I mean by local, it doesn't necessarily have to be your local, but try to find and buy from small business, online or on actual location. Small business people, give back to your community. Without these small businesses, communities would not be what they are. So yeah, without that, I'm cutting this loose. But yeah, thank y'all everybody, for joining me, and I hope y'all all have a wonderful, magical morning, noon, night, evening. I don't know your life. I don't know if you're coming home, leaving, going to work. I don't know. But I hope y'all all have a wonderful day. I hope y'all all have safe travels, and hey, this is also the perfect time to, if you are traveling and you're not actually driving, so you'll be writing, or if you're taking a flight, my videos would be the perfect videos to, listen to. Just throwing that out there. But anyways, until then, y'all, Fire Lotus.